Paul Heyman that ended up putting you with your partner in the end. What were your first impressions of him when you met Shad?
I remember the first time I met him, I was introduced to him by Elijah Burke, the Pope. And the first time I met him, I was like, oh, this guy's a character. I definitely thought Shad was a character. But we developed a friendship before we were even in a tag team. You know, Shad, he has done so much for me outside the ring. He gave me my first apartment. He gave me his license when I wasn't even 21 yet. So I was going into bars. I was, what, 18, 19, using his ID, no one questioned it. He was very well known in the club scene because he did a lot of security, so they knew that was his they said I was his little brother. And
you mentioned he was in security. He also had a bit of MMA background, but supposedly he fights against possibly under.
Nah, I don't know.
Okay. And I also read that he was disqualified from Tough Enough 2 for some reason. Do you have any idea?
Oh yeah, he did tell me about it. He was disqualified. I think the doctor made a mistake on one of his blood tests. They made a mistake, and then once they corrected it, it was already too late. So he was like, well, he didn't stop him. And that was a blessing in disguise. Everything happened for a reason.
What about the Cryme Tyme vignettes that you did in OVW? Those are pretty memorable. What were your thoughts on those? And did you have much say in putting those?
Oh, that was all Shad and I. That was all our creativity. We shot those ourselves. We got a camera, we got a crew, and we just had fun. And because it was so good, WWE didn't want to change it. They just wanted to use better equipment, and we did the same exact things with better equipment, with WWE quality.
And one girl that was in one of those vignettes was Shanae, who worked for our company, Great North Wrestling, quite a bit in the past. I guess she was on contract in OVW at that time. Do you remember her?
Shanae.
Yeah.
No, I do not. If I see her face, I probably definitely would.
She was in one of your apartment, I think the one in your apartment or something.
Okay, I gotta see her face.
So what ultimately led you guys getting called up?
It was those videos. It was those vignettes that we did, because not only was it the video that it was the content that it was funny, is that we took the initiative to do it on our own. Al Snow said we were the Southern Tag Team Champions, we were winning, and they were like, you don't always have to win a match or have matches to get over. You know, do something outside of the ring. And we came up with some cool concepts, and we had fun with it. And then Vince wound up seeing those vignettes and hired me. Shad was already under contract, and I was able to get a contract off of that. So I was in OVW for about 3.5 years with just with no contract, no developmental contract. I was working at the Gold's Gym and balancing working, going to the gym, and going to practice.
And who came up with the Cryme Tyme name?
The Cryme Tyme name, we all sat in a room and was going through different names because of trademark issues. We had to make sure that it wasn't taken already, so we were just going through, coming up with names, going through the computer, trademark, oh, taken, we can't use that. It was one, I'm so glad that it didn't come through. One of the writers, one of the head writers at the time of Raw, he wanted to call us Hoodie Nation, and we were gonna have our own flag. And I was like, oh, please let that be, let that be taken. I don't want to, that's a horrible name. And it was taken, so, and then all of a sudden, someone said Cryme Tyme. And then we looked at each other, and we was, Cryme Tyme, Cryme Tyme, Cryme Tyme? Can we spell it, how is it spelled? Cryme Tyme, the original way was taken, then we spelled it with a Y. He's like, it's good, I like it, we all liked it, and then Cryme Tyme it was.
Your name, JTG, I guess you still own that. How is that possible?
I don't know how I got away with that. When I saw it in my contract, I always remember that, and I was like, I didn't say anything. I just kept it in the back of my head. And then when I did get released, we all got an email, all the talent that got released, and said to please change your Twitter handles if your stage name is in your. And I just wrote back, I was like, well, in my contract, I own JTG. And then I got like a response like, oh, yes, you do. Okay, you're fine. I was like, yeah, that's right.
And for people that don't know, what does JTG stand for?
Well, JTG, when I was in OVW, it stood for Just Too Good. When I used to do my promos with Rip Rogers, I would always just say I was just too good at the end and sometime during the promo. So Just Too Good was my name in OVW, but when I got to WWE, because I didn't want to get heat, I didn't want to sound overconfident, I eventually changed to just that gangster.
And you talk about heat, you would have been one of the younger wrestlers for sure at the time when you debuted in WWE.
Yeah.
Did you have any heat on you just for being young when you first came in?
Oh, definitely. When I came on the scene, I was 21. And then we got over immediately with the WWE Universe. And we got a lot of heat for that because guys who were there for years, was having issues, were having a hard time getting over. And then Shad and I come in there 2-3 weeks in, the crowd is we're blowing the roof off arenas when they hear yo, 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 and we're young, and that did ruffle a few feathers.
What are some ways, I know it's in your book, but like, that you can get heat, just like a couple ways maybe, because it's very hard for someone to understand that's not in the wrestling business. If you're fresh going into that, the jealousy is so huge, and it's such a backstabbing industry.
Yeah, it's such a backstabbing industry. You could get heat for walking in the arena with shades on. That's one. You could get heat for not shaking somebody's hand. You got to shake everybody's hand when you walk into that arena. I've shaken people's hands twice or 3 times because I forgot. There's so many people backstage that you forget who hand you shook. So I just want to make sure that
And that's every night, 4 to 5 days a week. Shake every single person's hand. In the airport, you also got to shake their hand. Right?
Yep. You get heat in catering if you don't have a shirt on. What
if you're getting your hair braided in the hallway?
Getting your hair braided in the hallway. Oh yeah, we got heat for that.
I think the split happened so fast with you guys, and there was kind of no real reason given behind it, and the feud ended quickly.
Because I think at the time the tag team division was kind of dwindling. There was nobody else for us to work, and I think we both wanted it. We both wanted to see where we could go as individuals.
How many matches exactly did you guys have after the split?
I think we only had 2 matches against each other, and that was it.
Was there ever any consideration prior to the split of you guys getting the tag team titles?
Yeah, on a few occasions, I think we were supposed to get the titles, and because of heat and politics, we never got it.
And they sent Shad back to FCW. I guess that's kind of in some ways considered a demotion.
Yeah.
What was the reason for that?
It definitely had to be heat, definitely.
I guess, what were your goals after the split?
My goal was definitely to get a singles title. I always had my eye on the Intercontinental title. But after the split, I had a difficulty trying to get that singles character. I was still trying to find my balance.
How important are politics in professional wrestling behind the scenes?
I think it's about 60 or 70% of your career. Talent. If you're all right in the ring, but if you're a great politician backstage, you can get very far.
And why would you say wrestling is such a cutthroat business compared to other sports?
Because it's scripted and it's not based on actual talent. That's why I think it's very cutthroat, because you have to know somebody, or just being somebody's good. What's the word I'm looking for? Good graces, yeah.
I've heard a lot of stories and books and so forth that Mick Foley used to be a bit of a suck up to the writers. Did you ever notice anyone else backstage that used to suck up a lot to
a lot of the writers? No, I know I definitely didn't do it. Maybe I should have.
And there's such a thing as stooges in pro wrestling. Can you explain to the more common fan, I guess, what a stooge is?
So a stooge is, I should have put that in my book, but I'll probably put it in my next one. Write that down. A stooge is someone who pretty much tells on other wrestlers to get themselves over. Let's say they're not doing too well. They're trying to get, they have heat, or maybe they want to raise up in the rankings. They tell on other wrestlers, they get in good graces with the office.
Would you like to tell us any examples of stooges that you've witnessed?
Oh, they have their paid stooges.
We've heard Nova was a stooge from a couple other people.
I think Brooklyn Brawler was a stooge. I'm not 100% sure, but it was. I think wasn't it in Bret Hart's book too? That
Bret Hart mentioned it. Speaking of Brooklyn Brawler, I guess you had the first match ever at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that was an honor, and that's something that I never thought I would accomplish. But yeah, me and David Otunga was the first match. Yeah, at the pay-per-view.
Is that a place where you would have considered yourself one of the most over places where you worked when you were doing the tours with WWE?
Brooklyn?
Just because of the Cryme Tyme gimmick?
Yeah, I think if we definitely go back, if we ever were to go back, it'd have to be at the Barclays Center. blow the roof off.
Do you think you ever will go back?
I don't know.
You're still pretty young.
After those 2 books, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing about the 2 books. I noticed that people said you're worried about getting heat and not getting hired, but it's like you don't have a job. So
Yeah.
they might never give you a job anyway. So
Exactly.